Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jagadish Hare. तब कर कमल बरे नाका मधुत शिंगा गाली ताली रन कशिप तन भिंगा किशबदीता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज निताय गौड़ा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौड़ा हरि बोल जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव नरसिंह भगवान की जय प्रहलाद महाराज की जय निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna, everybody. So prasad is being served at the Haveli, so you're welcome to make your way there. There should also be a Bhagavad Gita class about to begin. I'm not sure who's scheduled to do that, but if you want to hear, which we should all want to hear, right? That is the first and most important function in connecting with Krishna. So if you'd like to stay for the class, please do so. And then after the class, there'll be some more kirtan. And we hope you can stay as long as possible. And Anyway, lunch is served now in the Haveli, so go or stay, your choice. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
What is the talk about?
I'm not sure. Every Sunday at this time, then someone gives a Bhagavad Gita class. And they could be discussing anything from the Bhagavad Gita. Yes, are you familiar with Bhagavad Gita?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I've got a Hindi version of it, a booklet, and I have made a poem interpretation of Bhagavad Gita.
Very good. Yeah.
Yes, that's it. It's a base of my life. Aim to live on.
You have Srila Prabhupada's translation and commentary.
I have, but I stick to mine, which is I understand. I've got this, yeah.
Okay. Have a nice day.
That prasad is there? There? No, okay. That's okay. I saw somebody taking, so I thought, let me be purified too.
So we're just going to do a little class. Pardon?
Do you want to move back?
You can sit wherever you're comfortable. It's fine. I'm just going to be speaking from here. If you're happy there, you can stay there.
Okay.
So we're not quite sure who has been assigned to speak, but until they show up, then we'll begin. Okay. Let's do a quick kirtan. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita
Can I ask you to announce? We've got a couple of cars that are
Shri
blocking.
Vasari
Can I answer? Hare Krishna. Has anybody got a Mercedes, Toyota Yaris, Polo? No? No, nobody here. Okay, great.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Nama Om Vishnu Paraya Krishna Prishta Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pracharani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatire Shatarine. Okay, so as I said, I'm not sure who was assigned to speak on Bhagavad Gita, but since it should go on, then we'll begin. And if the person who was supposed to give class turns up, then they can take over. So, how many of you are familiar with Bhagavad Gita as it is by Srila Prabhupada? Yeah? Okay. How many of you know nothing about Bhagavad Gita or what it says or what it's about? Okay, so everybody knows something about Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So I'm going to ask you for a number between 1 and 18. Somebody just give me a number between 1 and 18 inclusive. 2? 2? Okay. So we're going to chapter 2. And I need a number between 1 and 7 inclusive.
7.
Okay, I heard 6 first. All right. And then I need a number between 1 and 9 inclusive. 8. Okay. So, reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 68. Chapter 2 is actually contents of the Gita summarized. Contents of the Gita summarized. Yeah, there is some Sankhya Yoga discussed. Yeah. Okay. So, text 68. So this is Lord Krishna speaking to Arjuna. Okay, as you know, Bhagavad Gita is a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, meant for Arjuna's benefit. Arjuna is in a very great dilemma. He does not know what to do. He has a duty to fight on the warfield, but he has lost all his motivation. Yeah? He does not want to fight. So Krishna is helping him find again his resolve, right? And to become fixed in his duty. So the Bhagavad Gita is spoken to Arjuna. Of course, Arjuna is a great devotee of the Lord. And Krishna tells him, therefore, that because you're my devotee, you're my friend, therefore you can understand this science. So if we want to also understand Bhagavad Gita, then we have to follow in the footsteps of Arjuna. And we have to be a devotee of Krishna. We have to have a relationship with Krishna. Because if we have a relationship with the Lord, then, as Krishna says, we will be able to understand who Krishna is and what he is saying. In the absence of such a relationship, it will be very, very difficult to understand what is Krishna, what is he speaking, what does it mean, how is it relevant to me. So Bhagavad Gita is meant for all of us, but we are implored to approach Bhagavad Gita in the same spirit like Arjuna. And that means to trust Krishna and to have faith in Krishna and to be submissive towards Krishna. We cannot learn something from a teacher unless we have due respect and submissiveness towards them. If we have a challenging spirit, then it is not possible to receive knowledge from the teacher because we think that we know just as much as they, or we think that there's nothing special about what they have to say. I've heard all this before. So we will not hear anything. Right? But if we're very keen to hear and we have proper respect, then we can learn. As Krishna says in the 4th chapter, he says, just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. And he says 3 things are required. Pranipat, pariprashna, and seva. He says, first of all, do pranipat, which means, first of all, be submissive be humble, be submissive. Understand that if you're going to ask somebody a question or you're going to receive knowledge from them, then you should be a little humble and be prepared to hear what they have to say. Then you put your question. First surrender, then ask. Right? First be willing to hear the answer, willing to accept the answer, then ask. What is the point in asking the question if you're not willing to accept the answer? So therefore we have to go to someone whom we have complete trust in. You don't go to a doctor saying, I have this problem and I need a cure, I need some medicine, and then the doctor writes a prescription and we look at the prescription and we say, I don't think so. Yes? I don't think you know what you're doing. I don't think you know what you're talking about. So you just wasted your time. What was the point of going to that doctor? Yeah? You go to a doctor that you have faith, knows their business, right, and will give you the right prescription. You have faith, and then when they give you the prescription, you'll say, yes, you know. I don't know what I need. You know. You've given me this, so I am determined to follow it. Then that is a proper use of your visit to the doctor. So in the same way, if we want to learn spiritual truth, then we have to go to someone that we are convinced and we have faith, knows what they're talking about. That is the first requirement. So submissiveness, then make your inquiry, and then seva, render some service to that teacher, that spiritual master. By pleasing them through our service attitude, then they will be very happy with us, and they will shower blessings on us, and that is actually how knowledge, realized knowledge, is transmitted. When the teacher, the spiritual master, is satisfied with us, then their blessings come to us. So this knowledge is realized by revelation. It is not by my own independent strength and intelligence that I can grasp it. That is not the method. It is not an academic exercise. Rather, it is a spiritual process. And that spiritual process means that I am humble, I submit, I put my question, and I'm willing to render service. Then the knowledge will be revealed. So we have to approach Bhagavad Gita in that spirit. We have to approach the writings of the commentator on Bhagavad Gita in that spirit. So without further ado, text 68 of the second chapter. Lord Krishna says, Tasmadyasya mahabaho nigrihitani sarvasha indriyanindriyartebhyas tasya prajna pratishtita. Okay, please repeat after me. Tasmat. Therefore. Yasya. Whose? Mahabaho. O mighty armed one. Nigrihitani. So curbed down. Sarvasha. All around. Indriyani. The senses. Indriya artebhya. From sense objects. Tasya, his. Prajna, intelligence. Pratishtita, fixed. So the translation is, right, Krishna is telling Arjuna, therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. So Arjuna has asked Krishna about one who is fixed in spiritual consciousness. How does he act? How does he move in the world, right? How does he engage his mind and senses, and how does he restrict them? Yeah. So then Krishna is describing to Arjuna all the symptoms of somebody who is full control of their senses, and who is astita dhir muni, who is fixed in knowledge of the absolute truth. So he's saying that someone has steady intelligence, steady spiritual intelligence, when his senses are restrained from their objects. So this world is basically like a Disneyland of sense objects. Yeah, there are so many things for us to see and hear and touch and taste and smell. Right? Have I left anything out? That's 5, right? So many things that we are seeking enjoyment from through this contact of the senses. And if we are unrestrained in that sense enjoyment, then we just become more and more implicated in this material world, more and more wrapped up in this material world, which is not good, because this world means birth, old age, disease, and death. So to become more and more involved, more and more wrapped up in material enjoyment means to become more and more implicated in the sufferings of this world. So then it is very good to cultivate some separation between the senses and the material objects, right? And to divert our mind and our senses to spiritual topics, right? Then we become detached from this material world. Just like a dry coconut, In a dry coconut, the pulp, the malai, is inside, but it's no longer connected to the shell, right? When if it's dry, you can shake it and you can hear it moving in there. Okay, so Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport, one can curb the forces of sense gratification only by means of Krishna consciousness, or engaging all the senses in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. As enemies are curbed by superior force, the senses can similarly be curbed, not by any human endeavor, but only by keeping them engaged in the service of the Lord. One who has understood this, that only by Krishna consciousness is one really established in intelligence, and that one should practice this art under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, is called a sadhaka, or a suitable candidate for liberation. So Srila Prabhupada in this purport is saying that someone who is a suitable candidate to be liberated from birth, death, old age, and disease is called a what? Anybody remembers what did Prabhupada call it? He said sadhaka. Sadhaka, right? Sadhaka means one who performs sadhana. Sadhana means practice, spiritual practice. So someone who is engaged in spiritual practice is known as a sadhaka, and they are a suitable candidate for liberation from birth, death, old age, and disease. And what qualifies someone as a sadhaka? What makes them sadhaka? Prabhupada says here that they have understood this thing. They've understood that only by Krishna consciousness can you be established, really established in intelligence, and that you should practice this art under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. So if we understand that to become really intelligent in this world of birth, death, old age, and disease, I must become Krishna conscious. I have to become fully God conscious. I have to realize that I am not this body. I have to realize that I am spirit soul. I have to realize that I have an eternal relationship with the Supreme Soul, Krishna. I must realize this thing. That is intelligence. Because if I forget these things, if I think that I am this body and I'm here and I'm meant to enjoy this material world, then naturally, inevitably, I will suffer. So we want to avoid suffering, yes, but we're doing everything to attract suffering. So that is not intelligent. Right? That is the opposite of intelligence. So only by Krishna consciousness, God consciousness, can we become truly intelligent. And therefore, one should practice the art under the guidance of someone who can help us, someone who knows. Then we become a sadhaka, someone who is suitable for liberation from this world. So I guess the very important question we have to ask ourselves is, do I want to be liberated from the conditions of this material world? That is a question for each of us. As long as we think that there is something to enjoy here, or we have some purpose to achieve in this material world, as long as we think like that, then we have to stay here. And staying here means accepting the concomitant sufferings of this world. Birth, death, old age, and disease. These are very real sufferings. The nature of Maya, material energy, though, is that she makes us forget how we suffer in this world. Right? Practically everybody forgets how much suffering there was at birth. Right? Everyone forgets what it's like to be sick. Right, until you're sick. Everybody forgets what old age is like until they hit old age. And everybody forgets what a trauma it is to go through death until they go through death. But from one life to the next, we're experiencing all these things. Being born, getting old, getting sick, being forced to die. This is the reality of our condition. This is happening to us. Why these things are happening to us, why we're forced to go through these things. You know, that is intelligence to consider. Why do I have to go through these things? But as long as life is good, as long as the going is good, then we think, I'm very happy here. It's a very nice place, right? And I have so many plans how to improve my situation, how to get what I want. But, you know, just around the corner at any moment, right, something will come to disturb our happiness and our plans. So, it is by the process of hearing, especially from Bhagavad Gita and from great spiritual masters like Srila Prabhupada, that we are a little bit woken up, that we get to wake up, we get to hear the truth and the reality of the situation. And then we think, oh my God, yeah, I don't want to go through old age, disease, and death. You know, I'm tired of being disturbed by this material body and this material mind. You know, I'm sick of the trouble that this body and mind are giving me. You know, I'm sick of being harassed by other living entities, other people who are envious of me or trying to get one over me or trying to cheat me, right? And I'm sick of struggling for existence in a place where everything is very difficult. Especially if you're in a climate which is extreme. Then you have to endure so much hardship just to survive there. Right? So we're constantly putting up with conditions of excessive cold, right? Heat, not so much in this country. Yeah. But we're always trying to adjust the environment to be comfortable. Yeah, and the environment is constantly fighting back. Right? You want to be comfortable? I'm going to make you uncomfortable in this way. And we're trying to adjust. So either way, anyway, we're being poked, pronged, attacked by, you know, sufferings of our own body and mind, sufferings from imposed by other people and other creatures, and suffering imposed by the elements that are controlled by the demigods. This is the material world. It's called the place of misery, klesha. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, it's dukkhalayam, ashashvatam. It is a temporary, miserable place. This is not a music to our ears. This is not what we want to hear. Right? What I want to hear is that the world is your oyster. Yeah, you can do anything you want. And you can achieve anything you like if you set your mind to it. Yes? The world is at your feet. Go get it. Yeah? Push on through. Yeah? If you don't succeed, try again. Yeah, you'll get there. Everything will come to you. Just believe in yourself. You'll do it. These are nice messages, yeah? But they're not exactly the whole truth. Yeah, if we read the fine print, then yeah, you can do it. Have faith, keep trying, you'll get there. Yeah, Krishna will help you because that's what you want. So he'll help you how to get there. But you're also going to have to accept all of the misery that comes with getting there in the material world. And frankly, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Whatever you think you can get, and however you think you can be happy, yeah, it will not be worth the pain and the suffering and the loss that you have to go through and that will be inflicted upon us. It won't be worth it. So let me get that thing. Let me get the happiness, the joy, and the love that I crave in a place where I don't have to accept birth, death, old age, and disease, and various kinds of miseries inflicted upon me. Let me go somewhere where life is eternal, not temporary. Let me go somewhere where everything is full of bliss and not miserable. Let me go somewhere where I'm in complete cognizance and complete knowledge and not lost and in ignorance, So therefore, happiness, enjoyment in this material world, Srila Prabhupada said, it's like will-o'-the-wisp. It's like sky flowers. It's like phantasmagoria. It's imagination. It doesn't exist. It's a dream. We're dreaming of happiness in this material world. And then you get the thing that you thought you wanted, and for a moment, it's like, this is nice. Oh, God, it's not what I thought. Oh, now I don't need this. Oh, this is not what I thought it would be. Oh, this is boring now. Oh, I don't want this anymore. Next. What's next? Right? That's our experience in the material world. It's great for a few moments. And then it's like, what's next? What's next on the menu? So someone who actually practices spiritual life takes it seriously and wants to get out of this temporary, miserable world. They are called a sadhaka, right? One who practices spiritual life. And what is the quality of that sadhaka? They've understood that by Krishna consciousness, then one is really established in intelligence. And that I should do this, I should practice this under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. So then I should look for a bona fide spiritual master. I should pray to Krishna. Please put me in touch with a bona fide spiritual master. I have to know how to get out of this world with your help. So please send me to such a person who can teach me how to do this, how to practice this, how to make me a sadhaka. And it's very interesting in the beginning of this purport, right? That the method, okay, because we want to be liberated from this material world. And as long as we are entrapped, ensnared by the senses, and the sense objects, then we cannot pull ourselves out. We cannot get out. It said that different animals are entrapped by different senses. Right? The deer is trapped by the hearing sense. The hunter plays a very nice flute sound, and the deer is captivated and caught. The fish, right? It sees the bait. It thinks, tasty meal, right? And there's a hook there, caught. The elephant is trapped by a she-elephant in a pit. Yeah? It's lured into a pit by the she-elephant. So, right, the genital is trapping the elephant. So, different animals are specifically trapped by different working senses and, perceptive senses. We, Srila Prabhupada explains, we have all our senses pulling us in various directions, right? Entrapping us in this material world. And we're just like running after them. Go here, go there, do this, do that, enjoy here, enjoy this, enjoy that. And we enjoy, and then we lament, oh, I shouldn't have done that, right? Or, oh, that was excessive, or now I'm suffering, now I have bellyache. Yeah, you can take it as far as you want, right? We know how by enjoying more than we should, it means suffering later. Yes? Krishna says happiness in the mode of passion means it's great now and it's pain tomorrow. So Krishna says the wise person, therefore, does not get involved in the process of sense gratification, knowing that such pleasures have a beginning and an end. Right? It's great in the beginning, but when it ends, we're sad because we want our happiness to continue perpetually. We don't want it to end. We want it to keep going. But we're in a place where it's not possible to maintain the contact between the senses and their objects. It's constantly being interrupted, broken off. Yeah? And then when we lose that which we are enjoying, we cry. Or we get depressed. Or do something stupid to ourselves, right? Because we're unhappy. Because we lost that which the source of our pleasure is now gone. Right? So this is what it is to be in the material world. So what's the solution? How do I extricate myself from this faulty process of material sense gratification? I want to be happy. Right? I want to enjoy. Right? Our spiritual master, Prabhupada said, the meaning of life is to enjoy. Right? Makes sense, naturally. The meaning of life is to enjoy. But the problem is that in the material world, it is not really possible to enjoy. Because your enjoyment is very, very paltry. The material enjoyment is very paltry, and it is always being interrupted. So what to do, right? If I try to just, lock myself in a bare room with no stimulus and, get someone to pass me some water and some simple food every day, yes? And I'm going to avoid all types of material pleasure. Yeah, is that the solution? How long am I going to survive in that situation, right? Is that the solution? You're still going to grow old and you're still going to die. Yeah? And then whatever your consciousness is at the time of death, that will dictate what kind of body you get next. Yeah? So just to negate material enjoyment is not going to take us to a positive landing place. Yeah? We want to land somewhere positive. We don't want a neutral proposition. Yeah? If I say the material world is a negative proposition, because it's a temporary place full of miseries, it's a negative proposition. How to get rid of it? How to get rid of it? Well, neutral is not good enough, because I cannot snuff out my existence, right? And I cannot snuff out my desire for happiness. That's not possible, Krishna says every living entity in this material world, every living entity is eternal, sanatana. So we can't get away from ourselves. I cannot kill myself. I can kill this body, right? I can make this body inoperable, right? I can throw myself off a cliff. I can put a bullet through my head, yeah? But I can't kill me. I can't kill the soul, right? It's going to be, if I think I'm killing me and then I kill this body and then I'm out of the body going, oh, that didn't work. Where to now? What's my destination next? Some other unpleasant situation that I don't want. So it's not a solution. We cannot get away from the fact of our eternal existence. And we cannot get away from the fact of our need for happiness, joy, love. Right? This is our heart's desire, our eternal need. So neutral is not going to cut it. Just negating this world will not cut it. That will not provide the solution. What's the solution? The solution is given in this purport. Prabhupada says, you can curb the forces of sense gratification, right? Only by Krishna consciousness, which means engaging all the senses in the transcendental, loving service of the Lord. So we want to be happy. We want engagement of our senses, right? We're suffering because the senses are being engaged in dull matter, not working, not satisfying, disappointing, frustrating. So where to apply the senses? The senses have to be applied in something positive. The senses have to be applied to spirit. Right? And that means engaging the senses in the service of God. Trying to think of that verse. Anyway, bhakti means to engage our senses in the service of the Lord, who's called Hrishikesh. Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Uchate. These senses are known as Hrishi, right? Hrishika. And Hrishikesh means the master of the senses. So Krishna, God, he is the master of senses, the master of everybody's senses. Yeah? He is the controller of everybody's senses. He's known as Hrishikesh. When we engage these senses in the service of their master, their true master, that is called bhakti, or devotional service. And then what happens when we engage our senses in the service of the Lord of the senses? What happens is that we become free of all material designations. These are known as upadhi. So right now I'm thinking that, I am this body, I am a man, I am of this age, I have these qualities, this is my work, these are my family members. Right? These are all designations, temporary designations, because they're only lasting for a few years. Right? Then all those designations are gone. They're finished. Right? As soon as there's death, all those designations are kaput, finished. So when we start to engage our senses in the service of the Lord, then we become free from that illusion. We become free from those designations. And our senses are purified. They become spiritualized, right? So when we use our sense of hearing, in hearing from Bhagavad Gita, instead of, the newspaper or, Talk Sport or whatever, when we engage our hearing sense in spiritual topics, then that hearing sense is purified. And we are now serving Krishna, yes, directly. And then we become free from our illusion. And we also become happy. Right, so the other verse is there in Padma Purana. Atashi Krishna namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyai sevon mukhe hijivadao svayameva sparatyara. Which means that the material senses cannot understand, cannot grasp, cannot perceive God's name, form, qualities, pastimes. They're like out of range. Cannot reach them. Cannot reach God. Because our material senses are very limited. And they do not touch that which is spiritual. Right? The matter and spirit are two different energies. So the spirit cannot reach. The matter cannot reach the spirit. But when we engage our senses in the service of the Lord, then gradually we wake up and we realize who Krishna really is. And that will make us completely happy. And how to begin this service? The service begins with the tongue. It's called Jiva Adao. The service to God begins with the tongue. The tongue does two things. What two things does the tongue do? What two activities does the tongue, primary activities? Speak and? Right, yeah. So the tongue vibrates, sound, and the tongue tastes. So when we chant Krishna's name, Krishna's glories, we're engaging our tongue in the Lord's service. Right? And when we taste remnants of food offered to Krishna, right, we honor Krishna prasadam. That is also service to God. It's amazing, isn't it? How many spiritual processes tell you that you can make spiritual advancement and realize your soul by eating? Right? But it's not material eating. It's spiritual eating. What makes it spiritual? That food was prepared and offered for the pleasure of the Lord. Right? We have offered it with love to Krishna, my dear Lord, my dear spiritual master, please accept this. Yes? And then Krishna, if he's satisfied with our mood of devotion, he eats it. It's not hard for him. He can eat it just by looking at it because all his senses are interchangeable. Yes? He can eat with his eyes. Right? This is Krishna. This is what it means to be spiritual. He can eat with his eyes. So he eats that. Now it is spiritualized. We say it is Krishna-ized. Yes? But it's still there waiting for me to take. So I take that spiritualized, Krishna-ized food. And now my whole body and mind becomes purified. Now I become spiritualized and Krishna-ized. So in this way, our senses have to be applied to the service of the Lord. And that is best practiced under the able guidance of a spiritual master. And we can begin that guidance by hearing from such a spiritual master as His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who teaches us how to engage in Krishna's service through his purports. And when we are ready, and when Krishna wants to help us more and more and more, he will send to us advanced souls, spiritual master, who can directly teach us personally, right? But first things first, we have to have the desire, and we have to take up the process, beginning with hearing about the Lord and chanting His holy names. So the Bhakti Yoga, or this process of engaging our senses in spirit, begins with hearing, but it's not possible to hear until someone uses their tongue to vibrate. So first there has to be service of the tongue, right? Then there is service of the ear. And then all of the senses can be engaged in Krishna's service. Every single thing. And when all the senses are engaged in service to Krishna, then there's no room or no taste, no interest for the inferior material engagement of the senses. Right? So Krishna says a little later, no, earlier in this chapter. Where is it? Anyway. He says one may be restricted from sense enjoyment in the material world, right? Because controlling your senses is hard, right? Therefore, Prabhupada says here that it's not possible to control your senses by any independent endeavor. Right? Where is it? 68. He says you can't do it by your own strength, by any human endeavor. Only by giving your senses to the service of the Lord is it possible. So you have to get a higher taste to drop a lower taste. That's the point. You have to have a positive experience to drop the lower experience. Yeah, that is the only solution. That is the only method. We have to get a higher taste to drop the lower taste. By experiencing a higher taste, then one's senses are controlled. Yes, you have a question? Good, because I need to stop. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Where does the soul go once the soul is liberated? Real liberation means to enter into the planets, one of the planets of the spiritual world. So right now we're in the material world. Actually, material world means many material universes. There are unlimited material universes. They're like eggs, yeah. But all of them have these material conditions. Beyond this realm of the material universes, there is what's known as the causal ocean. Yes? And that causal ocean is the place where the Lord lies down and produces all these material worlds. Beyond the causal ocean is Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha means the spiritual world. And Vaikuntha means specifically it is free from anxiety. There is no, right? So it's a place where there's no worry. Right? That's what we want. We want to go there. So if one is actually liberated, one will go to the Vaikuntha world. And in that Vaikuntha world, there are, again, unlimited planets. Yeah, but each of those planets has, there's the absence of birth, death, old age, and disease. There's no anxiety, right? And everyone there, every inhabitant there has a body which is eternal, full of bliss and full of knowledge. So that's liberation. Some people will try to tell you that liberation means just to get out of this place, right? But that's what I was talking about in terms of a neutral position. It's possible to hit that neutral position. You can enter the causal ocean, and you can also enter the spiritual rays of the Vaikuntha planets. It's known as the Brahma Jyoti. It's like the Lord's effulgence, but it's a neutral position. There's no activity there. There's no engagement of the senses there. And because there's no engagement of the senses, one will not be satisfied. One will again fall into this material world because one is not able to engage the senses. So real liberation means to enter one of the planets of the Lord and engage in the Lord's service. Welcome. Any other questions? Oh, that's very kind of you. I know what my problems are. So